Question 1. Which author wrote the short story Bartleby the Scrivener, about a clerk who answers every request with, "I would prefer not to"?
A. Washington Irving. B. Herman Melville. C. Edgar Allan Poe. D. James Fenimore Cooper.
The answer is B. Herman Melville. Herman Melville wrote Bartleby the Scrivener, a Wall Street tale of a copyist who quietly refuses to work. Its famous line, "I would prefer not to," has become a byword for passive resistance. 20 questions to test whether you could pass the American Literature CLEP exam and save hundreds of dollars by skipping the full college course. Think you've got what it takes? Get 16 right, and you're likely ready for the full exam. Question 2. The Puritan poet who wrote private devotional verse, later collected as preparatory meditations and huswifery, was A. Anne Bradstreet. B. Cotton Mather.
C. Edward Taylor. D. Michael Wigglesworth.
The answer is C. Edward Taylor. Edward Taylor was a Puritan minister whose intensely metaphysical poems, including huswifery, stayed unpublished for centuries. Anne Bradstreet, by contrast, was the first published poet of the colonies. Question 3. Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Rip Van Winkle are best described as early American examples of the A. Short story. B. Epic poem.
C. Slave narrative.
D. Sonnet sequence. The answer is A. Short story. Washington Irving helped invent the American short story with these tales from the sketchbook. Rip Van Winkle sleeps through the Revolution, and the Headless Horseman haunts Sleepy Hollow. Question 4. The essay Self-Reliance, urging readers to trust their own intuition over conformity, was written by which leading transcendentalist? A. Henry David Thoreau. B. Nathaniel Hawthorne. C. Walt Whitman. D. Ralph Waldo Emerson. The answer is D. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote Self-Reliance, the central statement of transcendentalism. Its call to trust the self, trust thyself, shaped American individualism. Thoreau was his friend and follower at Walden. Question 5. Hester Prynne, forced to wear a scarlet letter A as punishment in Puritan Boston, is the heroine of a novel by
A. Herman Melville.
B. Nathaniel Hawthorne. C. Harriet Beecher Stowe. D. James Fenimore Cooper. The answer is B. Nathaniel Hawthorne. Nathaniel Hawthorne wrote The Scarlet Letter, set in Puritan Boston. Hester Prynne wears the embroidered A for adultery, while the minister, Arthur Dimmesdale, hides his own guilt. Question 6. The poet who wrote Leaves of Grass and Song of Myself in sprawling free verse, celebrating democracy and the common person, was A. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. B. Emily Dickinson. C. Walt Whitman. D. Edgar Allan Poe. The answer is C. Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman wrote Leaves of Grass, expanding it across his lifetime. Song of Myself, in unrhymed free verse, sings of democracy and the self. I celebrate myself and sing myself. Question 7. The reclusive Amherst poet known for short, slant-rhymed poems such as Because I Could Not Stop for Death was
A. Emily Dickinson. B. Anne Bradstreet. C. Marianne Moore. D. Sylvia Plath. The answer is A. Emily Dickinson.
Emily Dickinson lived largely in seclusion in Amherst, Massachusetts, and published almost nothing in her lifetime. Her compressed poems, with dashes and slant rhyme, were found after her death. Question 8.
Edgar Allan Poe's poem, The Raven, is most famous for its repeated refrain.
A. Quoth the maiden, evermore. B. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
C. Once upon a midnight dreary. D. And the silken, sad, uncertain.
The answer is B. Quoth the raven, nevermore. In The Raven, the ominous bird answers every question with a single word, nevermore. The line, quoth the raven, nevermore, tolls through the poem as the speaker mourns his lost Lenore. Question 9. The poem, The Road Not Taken, which ends by claiming a choice made all the difference, was written by which New England poet? A. Walt Whitman. B. Wallace Stevens. C. E. Cummings. D. Robert Frost. The answer is D. Robert Frost.
Robert Frost wrote The Road Not Taken, set among the woods of rural New England. The speaker takes the road less traveled by, and that, he says, has made all the difference.
Question 10. Langston Hughes, author of The Negro Speaks of Rivers and a leading literary voice of the 1920s, is most closely associated with which movement?
A. The Beat Generation.
B.
Transcendentalism.
C. The Lost Generation. D. The Harlem Renaissance.
The answer is D. The Harlem Renaissance. Langston Hughes was a central poet of the Harlem Renaissance, the flowering of African American art in 1920s Harlem. His jazz-inflected verse gave voice to Black American life and history.
Question 11. Mark Twain's novel, narrated by a runaway boy who rafts down the Mississippi River with an escaped enslaved man named Jim, is A. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. B. The Red Badge of Courage. C. Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. D. The Last of the Mohicans. The answer is C. Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Adventures of Huckleberry Finn follows Huck and Jim down the Mississippi on a raft. Twain's use of everyday American speech and its moral reckoning with slavery made it a landmark novel.
Question 12. F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, with its narrator Nick Carraway, and the mysterious J. Gatsby, is set during which decade?
A. The 1890s.
B. The 1920s.
C. The 1860s.
D. The 1950s.
The answer is B. The 1920s.
The Great Gatsby is set in the jazz age of the 1920s on Long Island. Jay Gatsby throws lavish parties while reaching for Daisy and the green light, a story of the American dream's hollow glitter.
Question 13. The 1852 anti-slavery novel by Harriet Beecher Stowe that fueled abolitionist sentiment before the Civil War was A.
Uncle Tom's Cabin.
B.
The House of the Seven Gables. C. Little Women. D.
The Awakening.
The answer is A. Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin dramatized the cruelty of slavery for a mass readership. It became a bestseller and a powerful anti-slavery force in the years before the Civil War. Question 14. Arthur Miller's play Death of a Salesman, centered on the failing salesman Willie Loman, is best described as a
Comedy of manners. B. Restoration farce. C. Modern tragedy of the common man.
D. History play.
The answer is C. Modern tragedy of the common man. Death of a Salesman is a modern tragedy about Willie Loman, an aging salesman crushed by his own illusions of success. Miller argued the common man could be as tragic as any king.
Question 15. The novel Their Eyes Were Watching God, following Janie Crawford's search for love and selfhood in Florida, was written by A. Toni Morrison.
B. Alice Walker.
C. Maya Angelou. D. Zora Neale Hurston.
The answer is D. Zora Neale Hurston.
Zora Neale Hurston wrote Their Eyes Were Watching God, tracing Janie Crawford's journey to independence in rural Florida. Hurston drew on her training in folklore and the rhythms of Black Southern speech.
Question 16. The American literary movement of the early to mid-1800s that emphasized intuition, nature, and the individual soul, led by Emerson and Thoreau, was A. Naturalism. B. Realism. C. Transcendentalism. D. Modernism.
The answer is C. Transcendentalism. Transcendentalism held that truth is found through intuition and nature rather than established institutions. Emerson's essays and Thoreau's Walden are its defining works.
Question 17. In Moby-Dick, the white whale that Captain Ahab pursues with destructive obsession is best read as a
symbol of an unknowable, unconquerable force.
B. Realistic account of the whaling trade. C. Comic figure. D.
Minor background detail.
The answer is A. Symbol of an unknowable, unconquerable force.
In Moby-Dick, the white whale works as a symbol, an emblem of a vast, unknowable power that Ahab cannot master. His monomaniacal hunt for it drives the Pequot to destruction.
Question 18. The post-Civil War literary movement that aimed to depict ordinary life and everyday speech accurately, exemplified by Mark Twain and William Dean Howells, is called A. Romanticism.
B. Realism.
C. Surrealism. D. The Gothic.
The answer is B. Realism. Realism, rising after the Civil War, sought to portray ordinary people and common speech truthfully, rejecting romantic idealization. Twain and Howells were among its leading American practitioners.
Question 19. The Beat Generation novel, On the Road, a restless cross-country chronicle of post-war youth, was written by A.J. D. Salinger. B. Allen Ginsberg. C. Ernest Hemingway. The answer is D. Salinger.
Jack Kerouac wrote On the Road, the defining Beat Generation novel.
Its breathless, spontaneous prose follows young drifters crisscrossing America in search of experience and freedom.
Question 20. Ernest Hemingway's lean, understated prose style, built from short declarative sentences and deliberate omission, is often called his
A. Iceberg theory.
B. Stream of consciousness.
C.
Heroic couplet.
D. Local color.
The answer is A. Iceberg theory. Hemingway's iceberg theory held that the deeper meaning of a story should stay below the surface, like the bulk of an iceberg. His spare, plain sentences leave the emotion implied rather than stated.
So, how did you do? 11 or fewer, and there are real gaps to close. 12 to 15, you're on a solid track. 16 or more, and you're likely ready for the real thing. Get your full adaptive learning plan at flyingprep.com.